Hello and welcome to Get Faster. Have you recently checked the weather report only to find that it's raining this weekend, but you've never driven around the track in the rain before? Well, this video is for you and I hope you find it helpful. The most important aspect of driving in the rain is understanding how the track surface impacts your lap times. But to understand this, we first have to look at tire tread. Tire tread, although it looks cool, is designed to channel the water away from the contact patch. If the rubber is not contacting the ground, you will not get any traction and you will not be able to carry any speed through any of the corners. I have created a simulation using a street tire that does not shed particles. The road surface is very clean and the water is able to seep into the cracks very well, which allows the tires to do less work, which means you can go a lot faster. But this is not what happens at the racetrack. At the racetrack, a lot of the cars use really soft racing compounds and the tires kind of just fall apart and leave rubber marbles everywhere, which fill in the cracks. And when the cracks get filled, the water can no longer escape and it just sits on top of the track in puddles, and it makes your tires have to work harder, so you're not able to go as fast because you're limited by the amount of water that you can filter away from your contact patch. The racing line in the rain is very similar to the racing line in the dry, with one key difference. Remember how in the last slide we were discussing how the rubber gets inside of the track? Well, that only happens at the dry racing line because that's where the cars drive. So if you just move over maybe 2 feet so that your outside tires are in the cleaner asphalt, then you should be able to carry speed much nicer. Driving in the rain requires a lot of skill, and if you do not have a lot of experience driving around a racetrack, it's probably a good idea to invest in a simulator or to rent a kart from your local indoor karting place so that you can gain experience with understeer and oversteer. It is extremely important because when you drive in the rain, you will go sideways even when you don't want to. Every single time I'm power sliding here, none of these were intentional. I was driving really fast because I was having a great time, and if you do not have experience, you can easily crash. Now let's go for a full onboard lap of Sonoma Raceway. Starting coming out of turn 11, we can see that there's a small puddle at turn 12. It's pretty dry, it's not too wet, but you can still see where a lot of the puddles form, and there's rain on my windshield. There's some cars ahead of us. I gotta turn on the wipers. Oh, you can see how on the inside line it's getting a little bit dry from the cars driving over it and spraying the water everywhere. So that's how I'm able to maintain pretty close to the dry racing line, but I think I might be a couple inches or feet to the outside of the normal racing line. There's a lot of big puddles down here, you gotta be careful of those. puddle and their tires are wet into the braking zone. But since I knew the puddle was there, I stayed to the right of it and my tires were drier, so I got more grip into the braking zone. The Mustang in front of me is following the dry racing line, which is probably not ideal. You see the car off the track on the right there that just crashed. You gotta be really careful, and you really have to understand how to control your car if you're gonna be driving in the rain. Coming up to turn 10, it's super scary in the rain. There's a big puddle right here coming into turning 11. It's a big dip. So yeah, that's a full lap at Sonoma. It's gonna start raining a little bit harder here in a second, and you can't really see it from my windshield, but it's starting to rain a little bit. The cars in front of me, the Camaro slowed way down. I'm going to try to pass up the Camaro here on the dry line, which worked on the previous lap, but it didn't work because there's more water on the track this time. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Get Faster. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more updates. New videos are uploaded every Tuesday. See you next week.